Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Packer Universe podcast. We're a Green Bay Packers fan podcast, bringing you topical and relevant Packers news along with our most humble, subjective opinions. This is episode 250. We're recording this on a Wednesday, December 6th, 2023. The Packers pull off an upset win at home against the Super Bowl defending champs, the Kansas City Chiefs, and are back in the spotlight with another primetime game when they travel out east to take on the New York Giants on Monday Night Football. I'm your host, Tay, and joining me in studio tonight is our one and only MVVP.
Ren, what up, Tay? Happy St. Nicholas Day to you, Tay.
Is it St. Nick Day?
How you doing?
I better go to bed early tonight and be good.
Oh, it was like you're supposed to have the gifts this morning, so...
today is okay. This is the morning you need to give your.
The 6th is St. Nicholas Day, so that's the day you wake up and you get this late Christmas as a kid, some reason in the upper Midwest.
But
it's some weird upper mid. It doesn't matter. It's some upper Midwest.
Yeah, I think it's tradition. It's some
just
Catholic thing or something, right?
I think it's just
the listeners,
Norwegian regional something goofy like that, just stuck in the Midwest. So
well, I think like the toy industry loves it. So yeah, it's like like Hallmark. It's like heck yeah, like let's add some more holidays.
Trust me, my 11-year-old was definitely looking up the date a couple weeks ago. When's St. Nicholas Day? Because he knows you get another little thing of candy. You don't get as many presents, but you get a few things in there. Like
right. It's probably what Christmas was anyway. Back then, you get one present, one little thing, a couple little things.
Now it's just overdone.
And now it's St. Nick is one present, and then a few years from now, it's like a whole batch, and then you got some other Saint Lafleur. Hello.
I mean, saintly the last
Saint Lombardi.
Saint Vinny, yeah, you definitely go there. Saint Matt, I don't know.
We won't Saint Love. Well, I would say to Ren, it's been very nice with these two dominating wins coming out of Thanksgiving, coming out of Sunday Night Football. I mean, it feels great, but I think public opinion has really swung to the other side of things, and in my opinion, it's happened a little too quickly. We better not forget what happened in that 4-game losing streak. We better not forget how we pounced on Jordan Love, how we pounced on Matt LaFleur and Joe Barry and all the young talent on this team very, very quickly, ready to kick them out of town, like start something new. We got to get who cares, rewrite the book. And all of a sudden now, Jordan is the answer. Jordan's the guy. Could this be 3 times? How quickly things have changed here, Ren. And I have to just sit back and chuckle about it. I'm like, I'm not forgetting what happened. I'm not going to go all in with this team like right now. I'm enjoying this, yes. Yeah. I'm having a lot of fun with it.
For sure, Tay.
But let me tell you what's going to happen maybe we lose a couple more games this year in a row and you're kind of, oh man, we have bad, games where Jordan's throwing interceptions, we're turning the ball over, we're not executing, we're making dumb penalties. Like what happens then? Just ask yourself that. If you're one of these bandwagon like Packers are going to the Super Bowl types right now, hold on.
Well, the fan base, Tay. I mean, fan is, as everybody says, short for fanatic.
It's true.
So they're gonna, and I literally have a piece here I wrote down, to come in today and just ask you, because a mere 2 months ago, literally, mere 2 months ago, this season, Tay, hit rock bottom.
Right. We were
bottom.
On bottom.
The Packers were seemingly headed for a top 5 pick.
Yep.
We're starting to get our mindset into that. We don't know if Jordan's the guy. Maybe they should spend one of those picks potentially.
Draft a quarterback.
Because they're going to have a lot of draft capital to move up. Fast forward 2 months, they find themselves in playoff seeding, Tay. Literally today.
Yeah.
So it's been a roller coaster. They have the NFL's weakest schedule, Tay.
They do.
Over the final 5 games of the regular season. So let me ask you this, because it has been the super highs and the low lows, and like I said, rock bottom. Where do you see this thing ending?
I just have to look at the schedule here. We got Giants, Buccaneers, Panthers, Vikings, Bears.
Oh my!
I mean, we didn't want to talk about them going to the playoffs, but that's basically what you're asking me. Like, how does it end?
I'm just asking you, like,
it ends. It ends
you
with
got 5 games. What's going to happen?
They're either going to the playoffs or they're not.
How many of these are going to win?
If they don't go to the playoffs, then that's
how many are going to lose?
Well, they're going to win.
Are they going to run the table today? Is this team going to finish 11-6?
Run the table. That would be awesome because that would not only prove most people wrong, it would just kind of like pull the rug out under this whole narrative that Matt LaFleur and Jordan Love and Barry stink, right? And this coaching staff with brain drain didn't know what they were doing, but then somehow got it together. Like, I guess that's one of my questions.
It's going to validate a hell of a lot of things.
Yeah, validation, and it all to me the difference is, I mean, they have been playing really good, but the W really helps out, right?
Sure.
If they would have lost these games, how would you feel?
I think after the win against the Chargers and the Lions, had they lost Sunday and they played that well, you'd have been like, I still feel pretty good.
The loss against Pittsburgh, we both were on the episode going, they lost, but it kind of felt like a win. They were moving in the right direction.
Yeah.
And then they rattled off 3 wins in a row. So you're asking me, well, how this is going to end. I think this ends conservatively with 3 wins, 2 losses. Like, I feel like, I think like maybe Minnesota maybe does, some magic here. They're not great, but sometimes they can just tweak us a little bit.
Well, Dobbs is one of those guys that, the first couple weeks there, he looks great.
Then he's back.
And then he throws 4 interceptions last week. So what is it? What is he? But Jay Jets is coming back.
Yeah.
So will that help the whole thing look better and be better? And it's going to be in Minnesota. Certainly could be a
little rough ride over there.
Could be,
I don't know,
a tough go because they're still going to be maybe playing for their playoff hopes and lives. With 2 games to go.
But some of are these trap games? Carolina coming up.
I think 100% these are trap games today.
Is this Giants game on Monday night a trap game for the Packers?
Absolutely.
And then so you have to, 5 games left. I'm saying they win 3. I don't know which ones they are right now. You could make a case for almost any of them. The way the Packers have come out in some of these games, you don't really know what you're going to get. Collectively over the last 5 weeks now, they've been really good. So that's where your tendencies lie. The team's getting hot. Teams that go into the end of the season that are hot do very well, and that's exactly where this team is. So that's why I'm saying conservatively, they'll win 3 of 5, and they'll go to the playoffs. And if they do, and when they do, you're lucky to win 1 game based on the opponent. I don't know who that is yet, and then you maybe get into the next round, and then that's probably it. I don't know. But like, of course, anything greater than that would be fun. But do I really think this team's going to do that and get, to the divisional round? I doubt it. Are you feeling any different?
I think they'll probably go 4-1 over the stretch today.
Okay.
I do think, starting Monday night in New York, yeah, it's a trap. It's a trap. And you heard LaFleur talk about it. Hey, we just dug out of this hole. We're 6-6.
Yeah.
It's a 1 week at a time thing. This is about stacking success, not getting ahead of ourselves and suddenly being like, oh, we win now. We just expect to. You have to go out and earn it week in, week out. So we'll see how that is taught and translated now that they've had this success. You got to let young guys thinking, oh, we beat the Chiefs, right? There'll be some of those guys that think that way.
I know.
Now we're playing the Giants. They suck.
And then we can let it ride.
We're gonna roll them. Well, unless you go out with that, I'm gonna smash them in the mouth and give your 100% effort. You could find yourself on the other side of a game you shouldn't lose. And so that's why I do say, it is a trap. They should win these games. I think, we're seeing something coalesce together that looks really good. And I'm going to say it continues at least into the next 3 games. I just think they're going to roll 3 games.
Okay.
Lose 1 of the final 2, likely in Minnesota, and then, go 10-7 and end up as a 6-7 seed. And they're going to play the Eagles, the Niners, or the Lions. That's what's going to happen. But if they win 4 of the last 5, and you're one of those 3 teams, and this youngest team in the NFL comes walking into your building, and you know how many times they've won over the last 10 weeks, you'll be going, damn, uh-oh. Nobody's going to want to play them. I wouldn't want to, because it's a bunch of young guys just going out and having fun at that point.
Yeah.
And they probably got some serious belief then. So
that's a balance there. Like you said, you don't want you want young guys having fun, rolling with it, and not caring and just performing. But conversely, to your point, it's like you don't want that to get to their head and have them go into any of these opponents, especially the playoffs, thinking they're gonna do it. They're gonna roll over. Everything needs to be earned. And I don't know. Some of these games that earlier this year, they just look like they didn't have it. So, somehow they have it now. And I just don't know how to feel about and how confident to be in that, because of, I don't know, this year. It's strange. It's very strange.
It is. Some people made the point that maybe Matt, during those games that we remember, the Raiders, the Broncos, some of those experiences, that first Lions game, that Matt was calling a really vanilla offense. He was afraid to just let these guys just play football. Give them the full playbook. You've seen the type of plays Matt LaFleur is calling and what the offense looks like the last couple weeks.
Yeah.
It's the creativity compared to that first 6-7 weeks of the season it's night and day. Okay. The play calling, the movement, just doing the little push passes, just things they do. Everything was just so dumbed down. It was just, we're going to hand off to AJ Dillon twice on first and second down. It was just like, what are you doing? It was like he was holding them back. And it seems like he just said, you know what, to hell with it. We got to learn. We're already behind the 8 ball. Maybe not doing anything this year. And then suddenly, maybe he took the reins off. And some of these guys are just going out and playing. He gave them the respect that they can understand this. Sure, they're going to have moments where two receivers run the same route or run into each other en route.
Right.
But let it happen. But man, even little things like you watch Tucker Kraft play on Sunday, you're without your starting tight end who's, got a lacerated kidney and Lucas Musgrave. Tucker's really coming along the last couple weeks, and you start going, look at this development. Like some of those leak out plays where they would block and then let him release off that block. There was another one they missed, Tay, that was an easy 7.
Yeah.
On the left side.
Yep.
And you're just like, man, if he could have that one back. But I mean, that kind of stuff, I think it was because was it left tackle that missed his assignment there on that Walker. But there's so much more to this team that I don't know. It is a little bit like the switch flip, but there's something that changed there with how they approach this thing. 100%.
Yep. And you want to buy into the storyline we were given in week 6 during our bye week. Remember, Matt was like, we're throwing everything out. We're starting over. We're redoing this. And people kind of freaked out about that and said, now you're changing everything? It's like, well, yeah, you have to change something if you're getting L's every week. Something's got to be done. Maybe that was the turning point, and it just took him a couple games to figure that out. But you hope that's the case, that he opened the playbook. He had the playbook, but he just opened it up. And
realize like, oh, if I have Jordan Love, we use a lot more play action. What can we do off the play action? And suddenly Jordan Love's a completely different quarterback when a majority of your calls are based off play action.
Well, it helps with AJ's doing his job finally.
Well, that too, but I mean, there's so many elements to that, than what they were doing before, with a drop back quarterback.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He was always in shotgun, just like Aaron was for a long time.
It just didn't work. And it's just, again, really quizzical things like that, Tay, which lead us to things like, during the current 3-game stretch, Packers have only allowed 61 points. Our friend Rob Domofsky over at ESPN has an article out there that he released today titled "Why Joe Barry's Defense Has Helped Spark the Packers Turnaround."
Yeah.
That's part of it too. And it's like, do we give Joe credit?
I was going to ask you that question today. What do you think about this? Like, this happened last year.
To a point when they did get better later in the season.
So you're like, okay, well,
what he took. Remember, he was taking the player input.
Yeah,
like, what do you want to do?
Is that what happened this year? Did LaFleur get in his ear? Does he feel the heat? Is the seat a little hot? I would really love to know how a Joe Barry defense can turn it around. And it wasn't like they were, cancers in the locker room this year. Rasul, in all intents and purposes, was a subtraction, and so I don't know what happened. I can't explain it, but they are getting to the quarterback. They are covering well. They're getting finally turnovers. Huge stuff. And guys are stepping up, and that's all alongside all these injuries that are happening. So you gotta love it. You gotta. I wonder why, but then I kind of stopped it for a while. I'm just like, I don't even care. I don't even care. But so let's fast forward, a month and a half maybe, or a month, depending. But does GM Ren keep a Joe Barry, even if they make it to the playoffs, even if they get that 7th seed?
I think there's enough talent there, Tay, that you can bring in another guy and he can direct them where to go and have the same amount of success. I mean, Rob still goes on to say, they still don't do some things super well, but when it counts, when it gets tight, we're talking about the defense stiffening up last week. Yeah. Now this defense makes plays, which is good. But he also goes on to point out, they moved into 9th in the NFL in total points allowed, 20.3 points a game, which is great. But at the same time, he's like on the other side of the coin is they're still 30th in rushing yards allowed per game at 136.3, which is 3rd most in the NFL. So it's not like suddenly like the Packer run D is like went from 30th over the last 5 weeks down to 15th. And we'd be like, oh, we're on to something maybe. But that thing is still pretty abysmal.
I think we're seeing a little bend don't break here with the points scored against. You're averaging 20 points being scored against your defense in the last 3 games. You're getting more turnovers. Now that doesn't put them in the next category of stats where they're like, great, but I think those are some of the differences right there. You're finally getting pressure on the quarterback. You're getting some turnovers, and you're not letting them score. I mean, those 2 field goals that Kansas City made in the first half were huge. I mean, holding them to 3 was a trend setter that whole game, and it just made things a lot easier on that offense. Less pressure on Jordan. I think we said that in training camp. The less pressure you put on Jordan, the more you can, as a team, do things around him to help him, the more you're going to get. And he was on time the whole game. He had time to throw that ball. The offensive line pass protection has been great and so needed for him to be, good at his job. And when this happens, he's great.
He was great on Sunday, Tay. I mean, a lot of these different things he did, where his footwork is today to where it was just a mere 6 weeks ago. We've talked about him before on the show, but that, JT O'Sullivan's quarterback school, he did a breakdown this week of Jordan Love from that Sunday night game. I tell anybody, go out there and watch it. You'll be like, wow, look at where Jordan's at and what he's doing.
Yeah.
And he's going to break it down for you in ways and where all the moving parts are in the offense and the play calling. Matt LaFleur pulling stuff out of the bag, Jordan Love, taking those calls and, running with them and, completing them to perfection at times. It's a pretty amazing thing. So again, where Jordan's come and where he is, this team is pretty exciting to it's
and we're witnessing the Packers making the plays. There have been a lot of times this year where the pass has sailed over the receiver, been underthrown, they haven't caught it. So it's fun to see them actually getting the plays, making the plays now. And that 4th and 1 pass to Dobbs, incredible.
There's some luck on that one, but
there is some luck.
JTO will even, point out some amazing aspects of that.
Yep.
But it seemed like every time he was, rolling out and throwing a pass, being whatever they were working in that game on Sunday to get a little tighter in the second half, was a little tougher on him.
Yeah.
But it seemed like something good was going to happen with football. You could just kind of feel the rhythm, and he was just throwing darts, Tay. He just there I would watch the ball too. I'd see what's the velocity in the ball. What kind of does that look like? A tight spiral 20 yards downfield?
Yeah.
Getting that ball down a little bit instead of taking a little of that arc off the football, like you said. He's just driving the football now. It's nice. It's what you want to see. And honestly, if you asked me 6 weeks ago, I didn't think Jordan was a guy at all.
I know.
I'm not saying he 100% is now.
Right. You can't.
But I'm surprised, Tay, that he looks like he does and did the last few weeks in that short period of time. I didn't think that existed after what I watched the first 6 games of the season.
Yeah.
I'm like, there's no way he can be anything other than very, at most, serviceable. And then you're starting to see stuff going, he does this, he does that, and he's doing this consistently.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not all the way there either. But
I'm not all the way there, but I'm
like what you see.
a long way to getting there. Like I'm come,
Yeah.
It's pretty close to.
And I think things are going well for the Packers right now. Like I said, pass protection is doing its job. We've turned into a pass protecting team. Yes, AJ did
Goes a long way too.
Did some good things. We're not great on the run blocking, but the pass blocking is really nice. And I would rather have that.
You've seen guys like Josh Myers who get bagged on all the time. We've talked about him.
Yeah.
Have one of his best games.
Yep. So I would totally
on Sunday.
I would rather have this than a running team right now.
They can't run, Tay.
Oh,
they don't have running backs. I mean, Aaron Jones isn't there. AJ Dillon is by default your starting back, and he's played hard, and he's done well for what he is. But AJ Dillon is not a premier number 1 back in the NFL. He's not. He's a complimentary back at best.
Did you listen to
the NFL
his interview after the game?
I did not.
He says no. That's why I've believed that since the day I was drafted. I'm paraphrasing that I want to be that guy that can do everything from first to third down. I want to be that guy. I can do it. And so he's confident in himself that he can do this. I don't think necessarily we are. We want him to be.
I like the guy, but that guy doesn't have the moves to do that, Tay. He doesn't have the speed to do that.
Yeah, every time that he has to step and reset himself before he even gets to the line of scrimmage, I'm like, ooh, that's not good.
Yeah,
he needs to be running downhill. So yeah, I don't know. Like you got any more on the game, or do you want to?
I mean, the Chiefs game was a blast, Tay. I mean, again, we talked about it on our first take Sunday night. The Packers led that game start to finish. I really respected. How Travis and Pat came out in the post-game presser and said, yeah, everybody was going to bring up the missed PI call on MVS. But there were other misses. And like Pat and Travis said, listen, that game's not about that last minute. We didn't put ourselves in a position to win that game. And Pat even said, they let us play.
Yep.
And that's the way I like it. So it's up to us to be able to put ourselves in position to win. Basically what he's saying, paraphrasing, to do that all game long. They weren't there. They didn't give themselves that opportunity. And they're not going to blame. And that's and I hope, LaFleur brings that kind of stuff up to his guys and said, this is a master class in how to handle the media and be professional. This is a team that's won 2 championships in 2 years. And you're hearing it from these 2 guys. They're leading by example, and that's the way it is. So, yeah, I mean, I know there's a lot of noise out there from Kansas City fans, but let's be real, Kansas City fans. Yeah, your team never led in that game. So, the team that played better did win.
And the penalties pretty much evened out in that last drive. So, I think we're all good here.
Yeah, for the most part.
I will just say quickly, if you want to hear a good conversation about those penalties and the whole ref situation about the end of that game, the Chiefs Packers game, go listen to the Packer writers in this. I think it was today. Today is the 6th. I think it was today or yesterday. Their unscripted show. They have a video show and they have a podcast. Those 2, Mike Spofford and Wes, they do that.
Podquits, yeah.
They do that show. They talk about it for about 5 minutes, and they make some really good points. So I would encourage you to go listen to that podcast. That was really well done by them. They said a lot of things, and they were not holding back. They weren't pulling any punches when they were dissecting this whole safety penalties should not, or they should not be, or they should be reviewable. Safety penalties should be reviewable, and that's what this is. Like this hit out of bounds. Once you throw that flag for unnecessary roughness, you can't go back. It's like that's a judgment call at the moment. And those two really put it in perspective, and they advocate for some major changes in this ruling system that would have affected this game, where you could, come back and look at that. So it starts with that hit out of bounds, and then you could,
Well, sure. And then the egregious MVS call.
yeah.
So maybe that's their makeup call. But at the same time, you get things like, they say, well, somebody pushed off on Travis in the end zone. That's a scrum down there. I don't, a scrum's a scrum. A lot of guys are pushing and moving. There's a lot of arms going around. That piece when Pacheco gets kicked out of the game, there's supposed to be a 10-second runoff there. They have no timeouts left. They didn't run 10 seconds off the clock.
Right.
So there's so many stupid things that didn't work. And that last, again, minute 50 of football was really weird, Tay.
It was.
It kind of took the shine off of, again, a dominant Packers win, which is what it was. You saw an amazing game by Jordan. AJ played solid. I mean, I love the contributions from all the different wide receivers. You're talking Malik Heath, Dontavian Wicks. Obviously got Jaden up there. Christian over the last 4.5, 5 weeks he got dogged on hard.
Yeah,
by the fans,
by me,
by you,
by me,
by everybody in the universe. He was getting it hard, Tay, because he wasn't doing anything, and he was not available. And listen,
wasn't catching.
He has been great. Really has. He's been the go-to. He's been doing some special things. He and Jordan have some great chemistry. Then unfortunately, guys like the Claymaker, guys like Christian, unfortunately, they got hammy issues.
Mm-hmm.
And his hammy does not, like to stay in its healthy radius for too long. So hopefully it's not for too long. But that just is an unfortunate thing for some guys. I will say again, the defense, that bend don't break was great. I don't think they played as well of a game as they did against Detroit. Isaiah Pacheco was killing them. He was wrecking it.
Yeah, 110 or something.
What did he have? I think I got it somewhere right here. 110 on 18 carries for 6.1 yard average today. I mean, you still can't allow those kind of things. The young defensive backfield, not having Stokes, again, no Jair. Jair's been out most of the season. You're talking CB and CV back there have been phenomenal as young guys today.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously Keyshawn, we know what Key brings to the table. I mean, he thinks they're going to get the number one seed. That's not happening, Key. I like your attitude, but that's really all I got on that game today. But it was certainly a fun watch.
Let's move on to some personnel changes. Excuse me, a little highlights. We have a new cornerback in town. His name is David Long Jr. We got him off waivers from Carolina. I guess that's just bolstered the CB room.
He's a good special teamer today.
Mm-hmm.
Played with Joe Barry, I believe, out in Los Angeles. So connectivity there. They now have 7 cornerbacks on the roster.
Yeah.
So he's played in a number of places. Listen, he did play with the Rams during the Super Bowl season.
Yep.
They need guys, and it's clear, at least in my opinion, this says one thing, that Stokes and or Jair aren't playing this week, and who knows if one of them probably not going to be available the rest of the year.
Yeah.
This Jair thing, somebody pointed out today, was supposed to be speaking to the media last Friday, and then that didn't happen. He didn't. Then people thought he was going to play Sunday. That didn't happen. So nobody's real sure what's going on with the Jair thing. He said there's back and shoulder thing all year. It's been real tough, and he's just not been there. So I think David's got some good experience in NFL.
Yep.
And you never know what you can find off the heap.
Actually,
there's a guy named Russell Douglas.
We do know. We pick up guys all the time that do pretty well. So, yeah. Welcome to the pack, David Long Jr. We signed Kenyon Drake. You might know that name. That was a Miami guy.
Yep.
To the practice squad, and then released James Robinson. One carry for 2 yards, I think, during that last game. Either they said
He had that terrible carry that wasn't his fault. Like when the Packers, it was like 3rd and 15 call, and they run this like weird delay handoff draw to him. Like I don't know what it was, but
clearly they
then they couldn't kick the Anders kick because they're too far out, and you're like, that's the play you ran, and now you're not going to kick the field goal. Like what in the world's going on here?
Yeah.
It was not good.
Yeah, obviously they released James Robinson. So they have, another running back, another veteran running back on the practice squad. Whether, anything comes out of that, who knows? But you have Patrick Taylor still. He knows the team. He can. I actually, I did watch that JT O'Sullivan video on Jordan Love in Week 13 today, I believe. And
it was great, wasn't it?
It was awesome. I loved those. But
you got to really like be paying attention to, because he's drawn on the screen and like you're watching it.
Yeah.
Where X is going and Y is going and Z is going, so you can see like how the play is developing. But it's cerebral, and
he does
like
a
this.
really good
This is
job.
making you think kind of stuff. This is like getting your brain juices flowing.
And what I know, I like watching other players too. This is a perfect time to do it. And Patrick Taylor's on the field for a lot of passing downs. So, you see him, you're like, he's running down the field after, Watson catches the ball, and he's right there. I'm like, 27's like right by Watson already.
There was one miss that Jordan had too that should have been a check down to him. And he pushed the ball downfield that really didn't have any business doing.
So, you got Patrick Taylor there, you got A.J. Dillon. So, yeah. I mean, you need some backup guys. This is,
I heard this talked about. Kenyon Drake is, in my opinion, for a third back on your team, is a massive upgrade over James Robinson.
Yeah.
It's still a third back, but James Robinson, Tay, has never been the same since the Achilles injury.
Yeah.
Achilles for a running back, it's just, he was a nice story that first couple years in the NFL, but that's about it. So Kenyon Drake is a great pass catcher. If I didn't already say that out of the backfield.
You didn't.
So you have this element that you really need in the Packers offense. So do you expect this guy to see the field a lot? No. But when he is out there and gets a couple looks, 2, 3, 4 looks a game, the guy can get out in space and catch a football and run downfield with it. So again, I think it's a much better upgrade at that third running back position, which, how much do you really need to upgrade there? But then what James brought to the table.
Yeah. You need a body, but someone better than James Robinson.
Yeah.
We have breaking Packers universe news today, Ren, and it's not necessarily it involves the Packers necessarily, but it does. It's our sweetheart number 2, Mason Crosby.
You mean your wife's sweetheart?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, it's everyone's sweet. He holds a place in each of our hearts, fondly, dearly. The all-time Packers scorer signed with the Los Angeles Rams today to the practice squad. But you told me when you walked in that he's probably getting elevated.
He's gonna be kicking, and he's pretty quick today. Yep.
So dang,
good for him. He made it back after all those kicking videos he put out there.
It's true, but like
on the interwebs,
like when Anders Carlson doesn't get a couple shots in the game to kick field goals that he can make, like, what are you wondering?
No.
Why?
Honestly, I think Anders has had, for a rookie kicking season, I think he's had a pretty darn good season. He's got a good leg. He's getting, with each week, he's getting more experience, because this would have been a 1-year thing with Mason.
Yeah.
One last ride. And they decided to go young, and it's okay, and it's worked out. Tell you, even when Jordan gets sacked on that late in the fourth quarter when they kick a field goal, and you're like, man, you just moved it back 10 yards for Anders.
Yeah.
He comes out and he bangs it, Tay. I'm like, man, I was like, why did you do that? What? You could have done anything there. And he just hammers that kick right down the middle, Tay. Just bingo. Done. I loved it. I love that they went young, Tay, because it's working out. Yeah, he's missed a few PATs, but so a lot of kickers across the NFL this year. Lots of PAT misses.
But
for the most part, Anders has had a pretty solid, I would say, 2 above average rookie kicking season. I've been pleasantly surprised.
I hear you, but I will disagree, because we've lost games because he's missed that extra point. Like, that has come down and actually affected the outcome of the game.
It's
happened maybe 2 times too many this year. So
I don't know. I would say maybe had there been something made, he could have affected the outcome of one game.
So I'm not saying he's been terrible, but I'm just saying I'm not happy about it. Still, I'm still not happy. We have 5 games
you're
left.
in the Money Mace camp too much. I think
Yeah,
you've been.
well, when there's Money Mason
I think
news,
you got a little birdie in your ear about Mace and I did spoil her when I came in the door tonight.
Yeah.
She didn't even know.
No.
I said, "Hey, didn't want to spoil your Christmas gift, but I hear a Mason Crosby Rams jersey is on the way for you." And she's like, "What?"
No, you told her, man. You shouldn't do that.
But I
now
did.
the house is in turmoil, and I'm gonna feel the effects because Mason's not in.
I don't really care about that though, Tay.
Yeah, you get to walk away.
That's right. I just leave and let you deal with all of that.
I am looking up. I'm gonna see if Mason will get number 2.
You find out his number on the Rams. While you're doing that, one other news related to the Packers today. There was one fundamentals taken to the hospital. Emergency appendectomy, Tay.
Yes,
Still expects to see the coaching field come Sunday.
He says that, but
he's a gamer. I'm a gamer, Tay.
Can a coach be in a chair coaching from the sidelines?
I wouldn't see why not.
Yeah, why not? Like if it's like let's have some like
they can't
IVs,
get mad though.
IVs
they
plugged
can't get mad
them.
and throw things then, or I don't know.
He's wheeling out there in the field, like, and so those people that like hold the coaches back. That's their job is to like hold people, hold the coaches back from going on. Like that guy he's behind the wheelchair.
Look at Coach Mac fundamentals. He's not going to miss a game. You got Bakhtiari out there last year. He's missing games on games to having those emergency appendectomy. What? I don't know, man. I'm just saying. Big Mac's a gamer, Tay.
That's suspect. Okay, so I looked it up, and a player by the name of Russ Yeast is number 2. He's a defensive back, second-year player on the Rams. So I think he's gonna have to arm wrestle Russ here for this number 2.
I don't know if old man Money Mace is getting number 2 today.
Well, he's not gonna mess around with his feet, so that his legs. He's gonna do. I think he's gonna do rock paper scissors.
I think this is enough time spent on one Mason Crosby. I think you need to get over it. Let's talk about those G-men, Tay.
The G-men.
Once upon a time, who spoiled Brett Favre's last game in Green Bay. The Packers are going out to the Meadowlands in Jersey, who find themselves facing a backup quarterback from Jersey, playing in his backyard, and he sleeps at his parents' house.
Danny?
Not Danny DeVito, Tay.
Who?
It's the other DeVito, Tommy, Tay.
Oh, the other DeVito, right. And you missed in your little preface here, the Giants spoiling it. Was it 2 years ago when they went to London, or was it last year? Last year. They went to London. Remember that game? And that was the start of the end of last year. Is their loss out there to the
they went out there and then we can come back and kick the Jets' ass next week, and then the Packers went on a pretty long losing streak, and then had to run the table again to get a final season ending game against the Detroit Lions for the win and get in scenario.
So we got Tommy DeVito.
Tommy sleeps on mom and dad's couch, or actually in his childhood bedroom, and mom still does his laundry. Literally real things he deals with. So
he has his posters up.
Maybe she sends him with a brown bag sack lunch to the facility every day with Tommy written in Sharpie on it.
Yeah,
who knows? But this guy Tay, Tyrod Taylor's available. They said he's earned it. Honestly, he hasn't played too bad. Undrafted rookie. Led him to back-to-back wins, Tay. They are coming off a bye, so they've got a lot of rest here. That's always no bueno for the Pack. You got a super rested team. Most recently beating the Patriots 10-7. And in that game, he went 17 of 25 for 191 and threw the team's lone touchdown to Isaiah Hodgkins. In the week prior, they played the Commanders in week 11, a game in which he completed 69.2% of his passes, Tay.
Oh,
not too bad. For 246 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, for a 137.7 passer rating, the highest of any undrafted rookie in the common draft era.
Common.
So, my guy's playing pretty decent, Tay.
Yo, is your guy. He's your guy now.
No, I'm just referring to. Anyway, Mr.
remember that,
Mr.
folks.
DeVito, 66 of 105 passes, 62.9% for 697 yards, 7 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions in 5 games this year. He has been sacked 28
Yikes.
times, Tay.
Ouch.
28 times. That's not so good.
No, that
The
bodes
Giants,
well for us.
Tay, Big Blue out there, are 4-8, rank 31st in NFL in scoring, Tay, 26th in scoring defense, and 31st in scoring differential. They have scored more than 17 points, Tay, just twice all year, but allowed 28 or more 6 times. Their most recent win I just talked about, in which Tommy played okay in that 10-7 win against the Patriots, was about as ugly as it gets. The Giants gained 220 yards today, allowed 6 sacks, and only had 4 third down conversions. On the year, this O-line, Tay, has allowed 69 sacks. That is the most in the NFL. Pro Football Focus ranks the New York Giants as the 32nd best pass blocking offensive line. 32nd best. You know what that means? They're the worst. And the 30th run blocking offensive line in the NFL. They bad, Tay.
So
they real bad.
For a while, Ren, we were the get right team, right? Like, oh, you need to bounce back. You don't want to be the 32nd in the NFL. Just play the Packers. We got this. That's what I'm worried about here. I'm worried about Saquon going off because he was injured for a little while. Now he's been back a couple games. He's really the only person I'm worried about on the offensive side of the ball, and you have to be. The Packers are notoriously bad on run defense, so he's the guy. You have to stop that. If you can stop that, then you'll be fine. Like everything else is manageable. We did a great job against KC, shutting down Kelsey and kind of just putting pressure on Mahomes. So, and I think they did a really good job of picking out the best players on that team, and then they neutralize. And that's what they have to do here. And this is against a bad team, so I hate to say that, but you have to watch out for, in my opinion, one guy, Saquon Barkley. You just have to shut him down. And will they do that? I don't know. Is this a get right team for Saquon and the run blocking offense? Probably, maybe. I don't want to say. So yeah. Who knows?
They don't have much in the realm of tight ends or wide receivers.
No.
We know their tight end they acquired from the Raiders is on IR. So
yeah, Waller, and then Darius Slayton. He's been there for a while. Whatever, and then you got some other people. And
the one name to watch
maybe been around for a long time.
Maybe is the one wide receiver we talked about a lot in the offseason last year that we kind of liked for the Packers. I liked as a speedster. That'd be Jalen Hyatt.
Yeah,
who they he fell all the way to the 3rd round. He's caught I think in his most recent game that was in Week 12 against the Patriots. He had 5 passes for 109 yards. Has 3 catches of 40 more yards on the season, so he is a deep ball threat. Expect a few shots in the game Monday night from Tommy to Jalen. As far as the Giants are concerned, Tay, a couple of their guys, Dexter Lawrence, he is on the injury report. He is an elite interior defensive lineman disruptor. And then edge rusher Kayvon Thibodeau has 33 pressures on the season. So if you're looking at a guy to get after Jordan, those are a couple guys you could pay attention to, although I don't think Dexter may be available, Tay.
And Thibodeau was the guy on my list. If you had to pick a guy, you would select him to stop. And usually there's always one of those guys. I mean, we shut down Sean Jones on Sunday night. Like he was.
Oh, you mean Chris Jones?
Sorry, Chris Jones.
Chris was wracking stuff, Tay.
Sean,
he blew up.
20 years
he
ago.
blew up some guards. He blew up Josh at times. He blew up tackles. He was wrecking it, dude. If you paid attention to that man, he was wrecking it at times. It's just that, thankfully they limited the damage.
Yes,
that's what it comes down to.
And it could have been a lot worse. It could have been a Max Crosby type of game where you could see it every play. He was in the face of Love. So yeah, I would select him as the defensive player to shut down, and then Saquon on the offense. Yeah, I mean, how are you feeling about this game? Like, let me tell the universe what you think's going to happen.
I don't know, Tay. Before I do that, the Giants are actually really good in the turnover department. Only 14 giveaways.
Right?
Only 14 giveaways in 12 games with 19 takeaways. That's a +5 margin, 6th best in the NFL. New York's 12 interceptions rank 5th most. But another guy to watch, Bobby Okereke. He is basically their dual linebacker, number 58. He is 5th amongst all NFL linebackers in stops and 10th in coverage grade per PFF. A complete 3-down linebacker, as they say. So what do I think is going to happen, Tay? I think the Packers are going to be up for this one. I think it's going to be closer than we'd like it to be down the stretch. I think that this is a game that Green Bay wins maybe 24-21, and your fingernails are at their nubs by the time the final whistle blows.
Wow, that's happened a few times this year. I think the Giants can give you some problems if you let them, and I think you have to come out. I think the Packers should come out and basically lead this game the whole time. Then they could handle some mistakes, interceptions, anything that would happen. They can rebound from pretty easily if they have the lead. I think they can rally themselves if they have the lead. So I think I love that they come out and take the opening drive and they score on it. And I think that's what this team should do if given the chance. This pull out ahead, pull out early, and just show this team and set the pace, set the tone for the game. And you have to do that against any kind of opponent, even a bad team like the Giants. So I'm expecting that. If that doesn't happen, if you just see them kind of lollygag out there, or maybe we're in for a long night. But I think they do pull this one out. I think it's a 31-24 win, Packers over Giants.
I like that you pointed out that the whole set tempo thing. I mean, obviously they chose to do that Thanksgiving Day. They didn't get the choice Sunday night, but we're basically made the choice with the Chiefs winning the toss, deferring, and making Green Bay take the ball. But go dictate tempo. Yep. Do it the rest of the year. If I won the toss or they won the toss every game the rest of the year, they should take the ball. Go dictate, set tempo, get up, get ahead. It's worked for them. Why play from behind?
Yeah.
Why not show the other person across from you that you're going to come out and punch him in the mouth? I mean, I think that's a great thing. Do you know what the line is, Tay?
No, I don't, but it's
Take a stab at it.
I'd probably guess it's 7.5 Packers.
Pretty close. You're within a point. 6.5 is the current line, Tay. So
okay.
Pretty close there.
Yeah, I think they have a good shot here. I think their mindset is right. I haven't got any information or signals that they are getting complacent or they're like, oh, this is just going to happen now because we played 2 really good games against 2 good teams. I still think that they have a lot to prove, and I don't think they're going to let that get to them, at least as of yet.
Well, speaking of vibes, Tay, Kenyon Drake, when he got in the building, said he could feel this young team's vibe.
Yeah.
And it was electric, basically paraphrasing, and that he could feel the legendary piece, and he's ready to, give what he can to, this young team and continue that winning culture.
And that's a sign for they've got it going on. They're collected.
He walked in there, he felt that. That's the right feel to get. So
all right, Ren, before we get out of here, I just want to wish you a happy semi-quincentennial episode 250. Congratulations on being here.
We did it, Tay. We've been here. 250.
250.
Nice.
Do not go back and listen to anything else. Just the last few weeks is really all you need to do.
No, I think we need to get some archive and like episode 8, 8 on the pup list going here.
But I'm gonna surprise you here. So I hope I don't throw you off too much here. But we have seen some things since 2017, and I'll list off a few. But like, what is your best Packers moment we experienced while doing the podcast? Is my question. If you need some milestones, I can throw them out.
That's tough stuff to. What is? I guess probably, getting those number one seeds and knowing that they were on the precipice, it's going to get done, and getting there against the Bucks that year when it's no longer a COVID year, you know, there are people there and stuff's going on. You're like, it's finally going to happen. That's definitely one. Probably the same game is like that game is like the lowest low. You know that window is closing. Probably a fun day for us during that time. I would say, you know, when they brought in all the dudes, the one free agency piece, when Z came in, when Preston came in, was that Billy Turner came in that year? Adrian Amos. That was pretty fun. And you're like, whoa, Brian Gutekunst is who? He brings in all these free agents, and they did it like in 1.5 days. You're like, dang.
Yep.
That was super fun. Super sad. I think one of our first shows, I was crying, calling for TJ Watt.
Yeah.
And it didn't happen.
Yep.
And Kevin King versus TJ Watt. And TJ Watt was like, we were talking about the branding. I mean, Wisconsin kid, they need, you know, a defensive / edge rusher. They lineman / edge rusher. They need this guy, and he's gonna fit. He's TJ's brother. He's got to be good. And guess what, Tay? Turned out to be pretty damn good. That's a low moment. God, all the lowest moment, probably, you know, as you start to get my memory juices flowing here, is the Aaron Rodgers when the Shefty bomb hit. That's probably the low.
Yeah, and that wasn't even
we're
him
both
leaving.
Like, we're both like so tied into Aaron. Like, he runs our heartstrings and the organization. He's our chance, Tay, to win the Super Bowl. We need this man.
And if he's not coming
to be
back,
successful, and he's never going to play in Green Bay again, he doesn't love us.
Yeah.
Like, somehow it's a shot at us too.
Yeah.
And then I'm pissed because I told you when they drafted Jordan, it's just gonna, and I did for years. We talked about it, and I reiterated, it didn't matter what time of the year it was, that this was going to have reverberation, it was going to cause drama. They didn't understand all this pressure and drama they brought in that's going to ruin this relationship. It's going to cause all these ripple effects, and it did. And it went, and that was the summer of discontent until Randall Cobb got a phone call.
Yep.
And then they kind of put some duct tape on a bunch of holes in a leaky boat bottom, and it worked for a little while longer.
Well,
how about you?
I mean, I don't know if I have a favorite moment necessarily. The worst moments were after those NFC championship losses. I really think, because that's what it's all about. And when you get to those consecutively and you lose, it's just heartbreaking. We got to start it all over again. Now, time wasted, time spent, and you had it there just a moments ago. You had the opportunity to get to the Super Bowl, and it failed. And then you go back the next year, and it happens again. It's just
I think even the following year, when you and I are at the game and they lose to the Niners in the divisional round, and they
crushing,
and they don't start Josh Nijman, and they screw up the whole line that they choose to start. It's like, why are you second guessing this?
And the special teams mistakes.
Yeah, and they can't score. They can't even move the football, Tay.
Those are big moments in Packers history in the last 5 years.
Yeah.
Those are some big ones. But, you know, like milestones, you know, Brian Gutekunst taking over. Mike McCarthy being fired. Bringing on Matt LaFleur. Aaron leaving, obviously, was huge. The defensive coordinators coming in and out of here.
The meddler with the silos, No more silos. And I got to call him, I named him the meddler on this show, Tay.
I think that, to me, was probably the biggest moment, because it basically set in motion a lot of different things that we've been talking about. But it was that it's Brian Gutekunst as GM. That was a pivotal moment for the Packers organization. One of them also is Aaron leaving and this new era here, but we're still in it.
This is brand new, and it's nutty.
So those two things, I think, are the biggest pivotal moments that we've experienced on this podcast. And, you know, so Brian Gutekunst's story isn't over. Aaron Rodgers' story is not over.
No.
And obviously Love and this current team story isn't over. So we're going to enjoy this.
Just beginning.
We're going to enjoy this for the next 250
Did you think though, like there's a point in my head starting to do a podcast with you, at some point Aaron is going to end. And is this going to be as fun to talk about this football team?
Yeah.
Like, what is it going to be like to leave that 30 years of Brett and Aaron and go in this different direction? There's like a real palpable fear inside my mind at one point with that.
Yeah.
But then like the Aaron wearing on it and starting to like too many fingers prints and too much feelings about every aspect of the organization that just started like, this is the guy that I loved the most of any player of all time at one point, to the point where I was like,
I'm a little salty now.
let's just try something different.
Yeah, I need to break
It just
up with
like it just like wore us all down. I think he's just like, I'm gonna just wear you guys down to the point where I'm still really great, but you're just gonna be ready to even suck maybe a little bit. And that's what's been. That's where we are. We might suck. Then we got to the point where like we, I think Aaron Nagler, they did the shirts. We suck again, like, and then now maybe we
don't suck.
Maybe
again.
we're pointing in the right direction in a pretty short period of time.
Yeah, we were very fortunate to have Favre here for so long with success under him and Aaron, and we're just optimistic, hopeful that continues with Love. But I think we've learned to be a little bit humble with that, and just to now enjoy what we have, enjoy this Packers organization team that as in the historic, I don't know, last 100 years of this organization being in Green Bay, the smallest market in the NFL. There's a lot to like, a lot to love, no pun intended. And I don't know, it's been enjoyable. I love this team.
This love train hasn't left the station, Tay. So we're just getting on it now. And I tell you what, doing something like this has certainly made me certainly a much more objective Packer fan. And I think that's been good for me, for my health as a Packer fan, mentally.
I know.
You're able to just kind of put things in perspective a lot better. Just talking about your football team, getting a little more cerebral about it, trying to, mind the X's and O's, so to speak, and your P's and Q's as you do it too. But hey,
that's a good point. That's a very good point.
And then just doing this with you, it's a fun thing. It's a good way to. It's like playing in a band. You just go do it every week, and it gives you something to kind of even the dark days look forward to. And it's something I look forward to almost every week. Just jamming out on the podcast with my childhood friend here. That's a pretty fun thing, dude.
Well, thanks for joining me over the last 250, Ren. Here's to 250 more. And for everyone out there, we appreciate you listening, following us along, and being there for us in all these ups and downs of the Packers over the last several years. We appreciate it. Thank you very much. All right, Ren.
Hey, Tay. Until episode 251 and beyond, Tay, on the pup list.
Thank you.